Learning English with Stories. Once upon a time, in a small village called Brightwood, there lived a boy named Tom. Tom was a curious boy, always eager to learn new things. He loved reading books, especially stories about faraway lands and brave heroes. But there was one problem. Most of the books he wanted to read were in English, and Tom didn't know much English. One day, Tom's teacher, Miss Emma, noticed him struggling with his English book. "Tom," she said kindly, "I see you're trying hard to read in English. It's not easy, is it?" Tom shook his head. "No, Miss Emma. I want to learn English, but it's so difficult. The words are hard, and I don't understand them." Miss Emma smiled. Learning English can be challenging, but it can also be fun. "Do you like stories, Tom?" "I love stories," Tom replied eagerly. "That's great," said Miss Emma. "How about we make a plan? We'll learn English by reading stories together. Every week, I'll give you a new story. We'll read it, talk about it, and learn new words. What do you think?" Tom's eyes lit up. "Yes, Miss Emma. That sounds like a great idea." And so, the journey began. Miss Emma gave Tom his first story. It was about a little cat named Whiskers who wanted to explore the world. The story was simple, with easy words and short sentences. As Tom read the story, Miss Emma helped him with the words he didn't understand. She explained their meanings, showed him how to pronounce them, and even made up little games to remember them. As the days went by, Tom started to enjoy reading in English. The stories were interesting, and he loved learning new words. Each story took him to a new place, a jungle with wild animals, a city with tall buildings, or a farm with friendly animals. And with each story, Tom's English got better and better. One day, after reading a story about a boy who learned to fly with the help of a magical bird, Tom said to Miss Emma, "I feel like I'm learning to fly, too. But instead of wings, I'm flying with words." Miss Emma laughed. "That's a beautiful way to put it, Tom. Learning a language is like learning to fly. At first, it's hard to get off the ground. But once you start to understand the words and how they work together, you'll soar through the skies of English." Tom continued to read more stories, and with each one, he became more confident in his English. He began to write his own short stories, using the new words he learned. His friends noticed how good his English was becoming and asked him to teach them too. So, Tom started a small club in his village where they read stories and learned English together. But the journey was far from over. Tom knew there was still so much to learn. One evening, as he was reading a story about a group of explorers searching for a lost treasure, Tom realized something. "Miss Emma," he said, "learning English is like searching for treasure. The more you learn, the more you discover. It's like finding a new piece of the treasure every day." Miss Emma nodded. "That's right, Tom. And the best part is, this treasure never runs out. There's always more to learn, more words to discover, and more stories to enjoy. Learning English is a lifelong adventure." Tom smiled, feeling excited about what lay ahead. He knew that with Miss Emma's help and the power of stories, he could learn anything. And so, he continued his journey, ready to explore the world of English, one story at a time. Tom's journey with English was now well underway. He had read many stories and learned many new words. But the more he learned, the more he realized that English wasn't just about words and grammar. It was about the way those words came together to create meaning, to tell stories, and to connect with people. One day, Miss Emma introduced Tom to a special story. It was called The Magic Book. This story was about a young girl named Lily who found an old book in her grandmother's attic. The book was written in a language Lily didn't understand, but she soon discovered that when she read the words aloud, the book came to life. The characters jumped off the pages, and Lily was pulled into an amazing adventure. Tom was fascinated by this story. As he read it, he could almost see the characters coming to life in his mind. The words seemed to dance on the page, creating vivid pictures in his imagination. Tom felt as if he was right there with Lily, exploring mysterious caves and meeting strange creatures. After finishing the story, Tom turned to Miss Emma with a big smile on his face. Miss Emma, this story was amazing. I could see everything so clearly in my mind. It was like I was there with Lily. Miss Emma nodded. That's the magic of stories, Tom. When you understand the words and the language, you can travel anywhere, be anyone, and do anything. Stories are a powerful way to learn because they make the language come alive. They make it real. Tom thought about this for a moment. So, by reading stories, I'm not just learning English. I'm also learning how to think in English, how to imagine and create with English. Exactly, Miss Emma replied. When you read in English, you're practicing how to use the language in real life. You're learning how to express your thoughts, how to describe the world around you, and how to understand others. It's like you're building your own magical book, one word at a time. As the weeks passed, Tom continued to read more stories. But now, he wasn't just reading for the sake of learning new words. He was reading to experience new adventures, to meet new characters, and to explore new ideas. He began to notice patterns in the language, how certain words were used in different ways, how sentences were formed, and how stories were structured. One day, Tom decided to try writing his own story. He sat down with his notebook and began to write about a boy who discovered a hidden doorway in the forest that led to a world of talking animals. At first, it was difficult. Tom had to think hard about which words to use and how to put them together. But as he continued, the story began to flow. The words seemed to come naturally, and soon, Tom had written several pages. When he showed the story to Miss Emma, she was very impressed. Tom, this is wonderful. You've created your own world with words. You've used the language to bring your imagination to life. That's a huge step in learning English. Tom felt proud of what he had accomplished. He realized that learning English wasn't just about memorizing words or grammar rules. It was about using the language to express himself, to share his thoughts and ideas with others. And the more he practiced, the easier it became. With each new story Tom read or wrote, he discovered something new about English. He learned that language was more than just a tool. It was a way to connect with others, to understand different cultures, and to see the world from different perspectives. As time went on, Tom's English skills improved greatly. He could now read more complex stories, write longer essays, and even have conversations with people in English. But what Tom loved most was the way English had opened up a whole new world for him. He could now enjoy books, movies, and songs in English, and he could communicate with people from all over the world. Default Textone Day, as Tom sat by the river with his notebook, writing another story, he thought about how far he had come. He remembered the days when English seemed so difficult, when he struggled to understand even the simplest words. But now, English was a part of him. It was a key that unlocked new experiences, new friendships, and new opportunities. Tom smiled to himself, feeling grateful for Miss Emma's guidance and for the magic of stories that had made his journey so enjoyable. He knew that his adventure with English was far from over. There were still many stories to read, many words to learn, and many more adventures to experience. And so, Tom continued his journey with a heart full of excitement and a mind full of stories, ready to explore all the wonders that English had to offer.